friends. We want to talk basketball. Joining me tonight, first, Brother Ray. Brother Ray, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, King. Ready for a great show.
Ready to talk some basketball. The man of the hour, TJ. How are you tonight?
Hello, gentlemen. Tonight is awesome. How we doing?
Doing good, doing good. We have a little bit of room for a genius, so, maybe we'll squeeze one in.
Yep.
Genius Kev. Kev, how are you doing tonight? Ready to talk basketball?
Very good, King. Ready to talk basketball. I always love the conversations with TJ and the wisdom of Brother Ray.
All right, guys. So, look, I wanted to first start off with this, and I want to make sure by the end we give at least 5 picks each of game for people to look at if they want to bet, because that I want to make sure we make sticks out. I wanted to talk about the draft class, and I wanted to see if I can do this because God only knows. I keep doing this. Whenever I do this, I keep wanting to do like a fake thing and just bring Pornhub up. Because I know you guys keep waiting for that. Like, everyone always waits for that to happen, right? When someone goes looking into their stuff. Like, hey, hold on a second. I'll bring this up. And, oh, my God. And it's just, it's Pornhub. I should just
I'll make it there.
I should just do it. Can you guys see that? Wait.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. You hear me on that? No? Does it go to that? Son of a bitch. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure that shit out. It shouldn't be that thing at all. It should be this. It should be. Fuck that. So I'm all right. All right. Anyways, there's 14 rookies that they've already graded after their first month at like a B- or above. My first question is, that's a lot of rookies, no? That they think like this year that's like doing really good, or is that overrated, overinflated because it's the first month and the old guys don't want to play? TJ,
I think they're grading on a scale. I mean, this rookie class I think is better than. It was a weird draft because we didn't really have a college basketball tournament where everybody starts looking at these guys and all this kinds of stuff. But when you're looking at a rookie class where the best player and the hands-on favorite to be rookie of the year isn't even starting, then if LaMelo Ball's rookie of the year, he leads in pretty much every category and he can't even get off the bench. Then if he's an A+, then when we're talking about guys who are Bs and B- on this scale, I mean, we're talking about guys averaging like 7, 8 points a game. So I don't think the class sucks. I think there's some guys that are going to stick around for a while, but definitely this isn't like some kind of A+ class. No way.
No, I wouldn't say this is a class that has superstars, but this is a class that has guys that will stick to team. I mean, it has like quality guys that'll stick to teams. Brother Ray, what do you think of this?
Yeah, and like TJ said, it was a very strange draft. There wasn't that superstar at the top that everybody was fighting, to kind of get their hands on. I mean, even the Celtics with their picks, they were trying to get out. They were trying to get out of this draft and and use their picks to get a really good player. But yeah, there's a couple of guys there. I mean, a guy I really like is Tyrese Halliburton. I'd be curious to see what TJ thinks of him. I mean, right out of the gate, he's pretty much, I mean, showing everybody what he can do on both sides of the floor. Just curious what TJ thinks about him.
I like him a lot. He's going to stick around for a long time. He's a real pro. I didn't know much about him coming out, but him and Fox together, they look like they're built to play with one another. They play well off each other. I think I've seen the Kings 4 or 5 times this year, and he looks like he's been there for a while. So I like him a lot. I think he went outside of the top 10, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the top 10. I mean, I know some of these people that predicted thought he would be, a little bit earlier than where he went, but he's a starter for sure. I like him a lot.
All right, let me go see. All right, so here it is. I think I did it. Did I do it that time? There it is. All right. So they broke it down and basically Cole Anthony. Here's the one I want to talk about. All right, first of all, see this photo right here? You guys see this?
Yeah.
He filled out more. If you remember him when he was younger, right? and because I have a teenage son who follows like all the people that are playing now or been playing the last couple of years, he was to me way too thin and more of like a I don't know. Like he was one of the balls, I guess. What I'm saying is he's much better than I thought he was going to be. Like, does anybody agree with that? Like, I thought he was going to be all hype, but I think this kid's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Right? No.
Yeah, I mean, but he's always been the one out of all of them that has been they've talked about been the more grounded of the kids. I mean, he hustles, he works hard. He's not, there's no attitude with this kid. He loves the game of basketball. So I think he really got hurt by the antics of his family. And that's because that's really not who this kid is. And I think people are starting to see what he can do. He should have been the first pick. I don't think there's any doubt. I'm sure everybody agrees with that now. But even, when the draft was happening, I mean, he should have been the number one pick.
TJ, what do you think of that?
I wonder if his old man didn't cost him a couple $1 million by sliding in the draft. But I'll tell you, Dad's been kind of quiet this year. Like when the balls first jumped into the basketball landscape, the father was on every station. He would just never stop talking, and it was ridiculous statements about how he could beat Michael Jordan and all kinds of nonsense. He's really been out of the picture. The kid's game speaks for itself. He's accepting a role, which is kind of nice to see. You always get that impression from the father that maybe the kids have egos like that, but they don't. I mean, here's a kid coming off the bench playing his ass off every night, backing up Terry Rozier. Now, the father's point of view is probably, he's the best point guard since Magic, but you're not hearing that kind of stuff with this one, and I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. So all right. So really quick before I know, Genius, you want to talk about the Nets, and I think it'd be cool if you handled all the Nets talking. But, really quick, what my son was trying to show me is this. So he goes to show me this right here, and it's one of those things where I give my immediate reaction, and my son's always telling me like, "Dad, like, oh my God," as if like I'm saying something that's like, I don't know, cross the line or whatnot. But can you guys see the screen? Is it too small to see? Can you see the numbers at least over here in the middle?
It's small, but while you're trying to figure out how to make it big, let me talk to these guys about this real quick. See that website, draft.net?
Yeah.
When Philadelphia was tanking for pretty much the last 10 years, I spent more time on this bleeping website to try and see who we were tanking for than I did watching the games. Like, this website was invaluable. And it's funny. I haven't been on it in a couple of years because we're a playoff team now, so we're not getting none of these guys that are in the top 10. But I'll tell you who was on there the other day. David Duke out of Providence College was in the top 10 at the shooting guard position.
It's right here.
So I'm excited about that. He's probably better than Ricky Lito was at this age. Like, his body type is not known. But I remember when David was a freshman at Classical, we were playing against them. And my game plan, because I'm a genius basketball coach, my game plan was, well, if the freshman can beat us, let him beat us. And then David had like 28 in the first half, so I changed my strategy in the second half.
So can you guys see this a little bit better? That's the best that I can do. Probably other people can do a lot better than me, but what are you gonna do? Well, David Duke's right there at number 11, right?
Love it.
So the first thing that jumped out at me, my son was like, "Yeah, but they're all 6'9" or 6'8" to 6'6". They're in like this 3-inch gap. Yeah. Nobody's like shorter or taller, and they're all like 185 to 205. And you get the occasional 220, whatever, but not really. They're all like, what I'm trying to say is, and I had this conversation with the genius before, and it drives me nuts. These kids are all becoming the same type of player. Like, they're all becoming like the Gas House Gorillas. They just can do everything. They're like 9 feet tall, and they can shoot threes. Like, look at the body types of all these kids. Is this exactly what it's going to be from now on? Like, is that basketball from now on? I guess TJ, you coached. Is that what it's going to be? Just they're all going to be the same size?
I hope not, because so many of the guys with this body type are so flawed. Like, when you think about like Jerome Moiso and Stromile Swift and all these guys that were long and athletic. Not everyone on that list is going to turn out to be Kevin Durant, and not everybody on that list is going to be Scottie Pippen either, right? So I don't know. I think there's a role for guys. The Celtics drafted an experienced short guard, the kid Pritchard. He looks like brings something to the team, and you're always going to have some monster like Embiid that brings something to the team. But unfortunately, when teams are getting ready for the draft, they're all looking for this exact same guy. And it's funny, you look at it. I mean, it's like, okay, everyone's 6'6", 205 with a wingspan. Thanks, Jay Billis. And it's like, look, but
You know what, though?
you don't want a game. I hear all this shit about positionless basketball, but do we really want that?
No, that's the thing. Like, so, but all right, really quick though, some of these kids are going to be good. This is going to be a really, really, really good draft class. Like, my son made me sit through all watching their tape and whatnot, hearing about it. But like, they're all compared to like really, really good guys, NBA players, like stars. Like this kid Jalen Suggs was a quarterback for the football team, and he's like an incredible point guard as far as like running the point. And then you got like Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham's supposed to be like a Ben Simmons who can shoot. Like, that's the size of the kid, and that's the way he plays. So like, there's like a couple of kids that are in this. Jalen Green. There was one tall guy that was slow. Oh, Evan Mobley. Sometimes, man, these people, they put together these like tapes to show like how good they are, and it just makes them look like they're doing like, yeah, all right, that was like a bounce pass. Yeah, all right, he used the backboard on a layup. Like, why is that? Like, my son's like, yeah, look how great he is. I'm going, all he's doing is catching and shooting. Like what's great about what he's doing? So, all right, I'm sorry, I get off on tangents. I'm trying to say is they're going to be an incredible, incredible draft class. Like, I really do. I know that's geeky of me, and my son makes me do it, but now that I'm starting to watch this shit, that kid from Rhode Island, from Providence, yeah, he's a beast. Like, he's just a physical kid. Like, in the last couple of years, that kid came from Rhode Island. We're going to have, what's the kid in the draft from your son's school, Ray?
Kwity Paye formerly from Bishop Hendricken.
We had Kwity Paye. The tight end that went to the Lions went unnoticed at Birchwood. What's his name? Eric Ebron. Yeah, right. So we had a lot. Like, we have like these. We have like really quick. I know this is off topic, but it's about these people. I'm working at Major Video, and yeah, this was a long time ago. It might have been Blockbuster, honestly, but who cares? I don't mean to brag. I don't want to brag. You know, it could be a Blockbuster, actually. And Trot Nixon used to come in, like, because he played for the Pawtucket Red Sox. And his real first name is Norman, right? Is that what it is? Because I remember that's what his name was. What the fuck's his real name? I just remember reading his real name and thinking, why doesn't he go by his real name? And then whatever. And I remember thinking, he's awfully thin. That's the biggest thing that I remember the most is how thin he seemed to me, right? So Trot used to come on every Tuesday to get the new movies. I guess he lived up the street and was like, whatever. He wasn't from here, whatever. Trot Nixon, I saw him about 3 years later. His legs were like this, and it was like he should have just left the needles dangling. You know what I mean? Just let people know, put people on notice that way. I'm saying, like, if you're gonna go all the way that way with steroids, just leave the needles hanging, man. What the fuck do you care? It's the same thing. People know. We know. There's no way Trot Nixon got that goddamn big. Bring me to this one really quick before I turn it to Kev. Steroids in the NBA. How rampant do you think it is in the NBA? I think it's everywhere. I think it's used for recovery. But what do you think? Because I think they change it all the time, the way they test it. All right, let me ask you guys. Let me slow down. TJ, what do you think? Do you think steroids get used in basketball?
It depends what you mean by steroids. Like the Lyle Alzado shooting up like in the locker room with like some kind of anabolic friggin' muscle madness mania type drug. I don't think so. But these guys, there's a lot of chemistry going on. That's what else. I don't know what kind of names they want to call it, but you look at the durability of someone like, he's the easiest example is LeBron's durability. Like, he's not that much of a freak human being. He's still human, and for him to put those miles on with his body, I think there's a lot of chemistry. what's legal, what's not legal. I don't know. You're going to be a scientist to figure out what you can take and what you don't. But do I think, guys have back acne and roid rage? No, I don't think so at all. But do I think that every vitamin they take in the morning is like found at CVS and aisle 4? No, I definitely don't think so.
I feel like you're stereotyping steroids. You're giving them a bad name.
Well, it's just medicine as a whole. It's come a long way since the 80s.
Well, what I guess is like there's human growth hormone. There's the 1980s steroid. That's what you're talking about. The 80s steroids. Acne in the back, the gigantic like this. I don't think they're taking D-ball. I think what I'm saying is they're using some form of steroids. You know what I mean? I don't think they're like. There's not one guy in the NBA that's like that. What do you think, Ray? Do you think they use? What do you think they're using other than marijuana? We can't count that. That doesn't right off the table. Don't even mention it. What do you think they're using, brother? Right? Do you think they're using some sort of steroid?
No, I think TJ's right. I think it's basically things that help them with recovery, with training. But you got to understand, you could take Sudafed. You could take a certain type of Sudafed, and you can get flagged. So there's so many things that are on the list now, and there's other things that they may be taking. Again, but it's mostly for performance.
Do certain kind of Sudafeds get you high?
No, it doesn't get you high, but it gets you flagged.
No, but there's a drug. What the hell did I use my junior year? It's got one of the same ingredients that's in Sudafed. But if you take it in its natural and its like purest form, like you can just run for days. Like you'll run in sweat all day. Like
ephedrine, right? Ephedrine.
Yeah, it's gonna be ephedrine.
Sudafed is like a protected. It is. He's right. Like you get busted with Sudafed, like that's not cool. But that gives every one of these guys an out that fails a drug test though, because then they just say, "Oh, I took something over the counter and I didn't read the label."
Yeah, they all say the same bullshit thing. Yeah. They all have the same weak ass excuse.
But they went in the bubble. They stopped weed testing in the bubble, so that just shows you what the NBA's drug policy is really all about. Right? No one. And honestly, I don't see the big deal with it. Really, they're doing this stuff to recover and get ready to play the next night. I'd much rather they take whatever supplements they can so they can play 80 games a year than to take scheduled rest days twice a week. Just from my perspective.
You ever play that game that's like it's just like a bald white guy cartoon, and you have to use a magnet pen to pull the hair and put it on the guy's head, cover his head? Yes. That's what LeBron's hair looks like it's made out of. What is that stuff? It's beyond me. I picture it, and it's on his head when I see him. But what is that material that you're dragging?
That little metal shavings. It's just metal shavings, right? And you drag it, and you give the guy a mustache.
Yeah, but exactly. That's what's on his head. I feel like before they're like covering his whole head. But my point is, what is that stuff? Is it metal shavings? Genius? You've tested it.
Yeah, I think metal shavings. I think TJ is right.
So all right. I pass it over to you, Genius. You want to talk about the Nets, huh? Brooklyn.
Oh, sorry, before we go there, can I ask? I wanted to bring up a couple of rookie things. One, which directly relates to what you were saying, how everyone has to have the same game, same size, and like there's this TJ. What's the rookie on Memphis? He's a center. Xavier Lizzie, I think. He's 6'8". He's finally getting playing time, and I'm reading about him. I'm like, wow, this guy like Memphis has enough big men. Reading about him, he's fighting for a roster spot, and he's a good defender. He's got a few weeks in his game. Good defender. 6'8" as a center, a little small, but then they're like, he has no perimeter game. Why should he have a perimeter? Like everybody needs a perimeter game in the NBA now. Like, did Robert Parrish have a perimeter game? Did Hakeem Olajuwon have a perimeter game? You can go on and on. Why is it kills me, Mike? This guy's a rookie. He's fighting. He doesn't have a perimeter game. He's a center, 6'8", and that's just that's what he has to fix.
It comes up a lot. I'm forever having to talk about Ben Simmons in my life just because that's the way it is. And he can't shoot. Okay, well here's the list of 47 NBA Hall of Famers that were 7 feet and couldn't shoot. And it's like you can bring there's more to the game than just being able to take corner threes. And I hate that. I hate that argument. I don't care. Now, can you have 5 guys that can't shoot? No. But can you have 2 guys on the floor that can't shoot and do other jobs and be a good team? Absolutely. And to knock these young kids, because shooting, if you're not born with it, you can get better as a shooter as you get older if you put the work in. And to put that as a big red flag on a kid who's rebounding the basketball, blocking shots, and protecting the rim. I don't give a shit if he can make a shot. When people get all excited when Daniel Tice steps out and knocks down a 28-footer, like, really, what do you need Daniel Tice to knock down a 28-footer for? Like, it doesn't make sense. No, I think you nailed it, Kev. And they put these labels on these. Oh, he can't shoot. Well, okay, all right, cool. Neither can Magic. Hate to break it to everybody, but Magic couldn't shoot a lick either. He worked okay.
Yeah, and his last name is Tillman, not Lindsay. So Xavier Tillman, like, great story, good defense, but he doesn't have a perimeter game. Like, I don't get it. And the other one, brother, I want to ask you about. Actually, you guys are both Sixers fans. You didn't mention their rookie who scored 39 the other night when he had to start. You guys didn't even bring him up.
Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he was someone, and I think we talked on one of the podcasts. I don't think you were on that one, Genius. But he was supposed to be a lottery pick. A lot of teams thought he was going to be in the lottery. I know Calipari was basically his biggest cheerleader, and he couldn't believe at the draft. He couldn't believe that he didn't go in the lottery because he can do everything. He literally can do everything on the floor. He can play defense. He can distribute. He can drive it to the rim, and he's got this easy way about him. Like, he's got this easy way. It seems like everything comes easy to the kid. And I mean, you've seen, what he's done. With the COVID situation, he was put in a tough spot. And yeah, he made some mistakes. He's a rookie, but that 39 points, obviously that's not going to happen every night, but for a rookie to come out and do that, that gets your attention. And I know it got Doc's attention. He's been getting more playing time, but it's guys like that they don't have the incredible numbers. He doesn't run a 4.4 40-yard dash. He's not 6'5", 6'6". He's not. He doesn't have incredible length. He's not a gym rat. And the problem now is, like, they look at those measurables, and it's like, if you don't check all those boxes, we'll push him down. They're not looking at what's here and what actual players these guys are and how they fit. TJ, what do you think about Tyrese?
I like him. I like him a lot. And during that Harden trade drama, they started throwing his name in at the end, and I kind of got cold on the idea of him. Like Thibault, I think we missed on Thibault. I like what he does. He's got a job, but I could do without him. But the kid, I feel like they nailed this draft pick. I really do. And again, it comes down to this. Are these GMs drafting bodies, or are they drafting basketball players? Because sometimes you can't just say, okay, he looks exactly like this, so he's going to be this. No, the kid Maxey knows how to play basketball. You can tell. You don't have to watch him long to realize, okay, he knows what he's doing. As opposed to some of these guys who are all arms and legs, and we're gonna draft a 19-year-old kid and hope he develops, and the kid never gets a second contract. So I think when I'm looking at these draft classes, it's who's going to get a second contract, because that's how you know who's a pro, because they're all drafted, they're all here for 4 years anyway. But who's worth the second contract? I think Maxey is, and I think that.
Yeah. All right, cool. And then one more guy I wanted to ask about, because it's the kid on the Warriors, Wiseman, the center. Is he getting hyped because he's on the Warriors, because they need contributors, or is he? You guys think he's legit?
I think he's. Yeah, I like him. And he's not checking those boxes either about being a long wing. He's not trying to be Kevin Durant. He's trying to be who he is, and that's a good role to have. And especially the more teams get away from that stuff, if you have one of those guys that's an actual post player that wants to be that, there's a job for them. You look at Andre Drummond still playing, and Clint Capella is always going to have a job. These guys that want to accept being big and play the role of a big man are going to have a job. It doesn't hurt playing with Steph. It definitely doesn't. But I think when Steph is gone, I think Wiseman's going to be part of what they're trying to do down there as they get a little bit bigger.
Hey, you know what?
He's a 2010 guy every night. He's put it in the bank. They needed someone like that, and I think, they didn't have really that last year. They had a couple of journeymen that kind of filled in here and there, but he fills a huge need for them. And he's skilled. He's a really skilled kid.
So Does he have like post moves? And it's funny, I'm like King, you're gonna remember this. I mean, right, like, all of you guys. Like, you look at like the '80s and you see like McHale and like the jump hooks and all the footwork and the drop steps and Parrish with the turnaround rainbows, and like there were like all this stuff that you could try to like techniques you could teach yourself. Does he have a post game like that, or is he raw and just he's big?
It's like a mix because he has good footwork, pick and roll. Like, he knows how to use his body. He knows how to get himself in position to get dunks and layups. I don't know if we're teaching our young players how to work in the pivot the way that we were teaching like in the 80s with McHale, or how McHale was taught and how Walton was taught and all that kind of stuff. I think they're getting more of that Shaq tutorial down there where it's like jump hook right, jump hook left, and drop step. But, you know, the footwork I'm looking for with big guys is how are they – he doesn't look like a stiff is what I'm trying to say. And I think he's got game. He can add a couple of layers to it. I don't think he's going to be as stiff as Dwight Howard. I think he's going to be something with a little bit more versatility to his play.
You know what's weird, guys? Let me interject. The NBA completely bleeds over to like kids, like youth basketball, high school basketball, whatnot, right? So even on that level, they're starting to look for just gigantically tall kids. Like, I know so many tall kids that are playing now that just have no idea how to play, and it's just like, so I when I had my son, I immediately started to coach. TG, you'll understand this. I immediately started to coach him in basketball, and I remember he asked me, "What should I practice the most?" Right now, he's only like 5, 6 years old. I don't want to crush the kid's dream because he's like, what can I practice the most? Like, what can I do to become really good? And I'm like, dribble, learn how to dribble both hands fast, do dribble tricks, like, because you're never going to be very tall. I'm like, you're a leopard. Like, where are you going to go? Like, I'm the tallest one by far, and I'm not that tall. So where are you going, kid? You know what I mean? Like, I'm barely 6 feet. So what do you got for you? So I'm like, you better dribble. And he did. And, if it wasn't for that fact, he wouldn't be on the floor right now when he is. He's on the floor because he's the best dribbler on the floor. Everybody else is like 6'4", 6'3", not really good, not really polished. Like, there's one kid that it's like they run a play, and then the play is that he gets it and scores. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Does he shoot? No, he can shoot or drive if he decides, or he just – what kind of play is that? Why would you even call it a play? Just give it to him. Just give it to him. Like, just give it to him. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? And that's happening now. So and I'm you can help me with this, TJ. Is it like which one's changing the other? Is it that the young kids are seeing this stuff and they're getting older and still seeing it because it's going on off like basketball's kind of changed for like 16 years. A whole generation has come up. Which one's feeding the other? Like, which one's making these things like they are? Youth league to NBA, NBA or to youth league?
It's interesting because it started when I was in my AAU time, which would be in so when I was in college, it was like in the early 2000s. You started to see teams give their best player the ball and get out of the way. And a lot of times the best player was the biggest player. And you started seeing like 6'6" point guards at 12 years old. And the kid, you were like, why is this kid the point guard? And it's because he was the best player. And they were just going to give him the ball every time down. It's almost how you ended up with Cam Newton in football, right? At some point they realized, you know what, I'm going to make my best running back the quarterback so he can just have the ball. And then you end up with all these running quarterbacks who are like 6'3" that are built like linebackers. But anyway, in basketball, all those guys, they turned into James Harden. And now it's working backwards because now you're coaching 8-year-olds, and I'm seeing 8-year-olds work on left-handed step backs. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? How about we try a couple of bounce passes and maybe get a layup because none of you can reach. But there came a time where ISO basketball kind of took over. I don't know if Iverson had a lot to do with it. I think people think Jordan had a lot to do with it, but if you ever watch an old Bulls game, they're playing in the framework of the offense. Like, he really was. He was just too good. Yeah. But this ISO, and now you got coaches because it's the laziest way to coach. And trust me, I've been guilty of it. I've coached my share of all state players. And yeah, sometimes, man, we're just going to go 11 high, which basically means I'm running a high ball screen for you and don't pass it unless the kid's standing there wide open. It's lazy coaching. but you got to have the talent to do it. So it sucks with the kids though, because kids should learn that. So there's 10 guys on a basketball court, only one guy has the ball. That means that the other 9 guys don't have the ball. And I feel like no one knows how to play without the ball, whether it's cutting or screening or playing defense. Everybody knows how to dribble the basketball in one place and do all this dancing and bullshit. But does anyone know how to cut back door? Like really know how to cut back door? And if it's not being taught at the young level, by the time they get to the NBA, man, you see a backdoor cut in the NBA game, the announcers throw their hats up in the air.
You know, these kids have no attention span. Like they're all jacked up on sugar and whatnot. These parents feed them. The problem is they won't stop looking at the goddamn ball. Like every kid's running, looking back at the ball. It's like, dude, turn your head, run down, set up, do what you get. Stop looking at the ball. They all look at the ball 24/7. I don't know if you've noticed that with kids, but it's like from coaching kids, that's what they do lately. They do that, and then everybody has to shoot a 3. I actually told the kid. We had this one kid that I didn't know if he was slow or not, but he just kept shooting threes and shooting threes and shooting threes and shooting threes, like almost like Forrest Gump-esque. And I actually said to him, like, dude, like, I don't know how to approach him. I was like, you got to stop shooting threes. Like, I got to take you out if you keep shooting threes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he goes, it's all I do. All I do is shoot threes.
Right.
And I went, all right, that's all you do. All you do is shoot threes. And I walked away from him. I'm like, nah, he's a genius. I'm like, that's what that kid is. No offense, Kev. But I'm like, he's above what I'm at. You know what I mean? He knows more than I do. He's just right threes. And that's what the problem is. Like the Warriors ruined it. I really feel like the Warriors ruined it for kids. They made everybody want to shoot threes nonstop. When I played, and this is how old I feel, when I shot a 3, I got yelled at, right? Yelled at. What the hell are you doing? Shoot a 3.
Yeah.
My brother Ray played and they shot a 3. Those peach baskets.
We didn't have threes.
The ball
We didn't have threes when I played. There were no threes when I played.
One of the beautiful things we have at the high school level is, we keep that, and sometimes you have to show it. Sometimes you have to show the parents, but sometimes you got to show the players. Like, look, man, you're 2 for 19 from 3. So can we take that? Well, I'm a good shooter. Well, here you're 2 for 19 though. I'm telling you what the numbers are.
Yeah, but I get hot, coach. I get hot.
Yeah, I've been waiting 3 years for you to get hot. But a lot of the parents encourage it too. It's the easiest shot to get. I call it lazy basketball. So I'll call a timeout and say we're getting lazy, and they'll know that means we're taking too many threes. But good luck over there. You got to get that when it's young, though.
Yeah, but you just brought up a topic that parents. That's the worst part about basketball, coaching it. Kids. It's the parents.
Any sport.
I once had a parent tell me that I broke her son's soul. I swear, in a goddamn email, I broke her son's soul by not giving him enough minutes.
You hold on. Okay. I know you, Mike.
Jesus.
Everyone knows you, and I'm not that surprised you got that email. I want to hear the story because I am not that surprised you got that email. Are any of you, Brother Ray, TJ, you surprised Mike got that email?
That's deep. That's like
I think he broke more than that. I think he broke more than the kid's soul, to be honest.
So what did you do?
I
tell you what, no, Coach Mike is always straight, honest. I always handle it one way. This was just like the kid. He kept getting nervous. So I'm like trying to talk him through it. I couldn't play him because on the stretch he couldn't dribble the ball. He kept losing it. He lost the ball like twice in a row. I ended up sitting him down, and then I just got an email out of the blue, like how all this stuff. Like, look, dude, parents see like this world happening that's not really happening. Like this woman, I got an email about this world that I didn't even know existed. Like the way she was talking, like I felt like I was on a different frequency. And she's like, "You broke his soul." And I'm reading that. I'm thinking to myself, we're talking about minutes, playoffs, practice. We're talking about minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, what is this about? And she was really serious. And then like the second thing was I had another one where I brought my daughter along to play All-Stars for like an oldie year, 2 years above, because didn't have enough kids. And there was another girl that I brought along, like that was of her age. And so they were like 2 years younger than the girls. So they were getting killed, but I wanted the older girls to play because it's their friggin' all-star team. So they get minutes over my daughter and the other girl. That just makes sense. Anybody else who coaches, right? The girls whose its team play. I get an email the next night about I don't know how to manage minutes, and no, I'm not kidding. I was like, "What the fuck is this now? What do you mean manage minutes?" And then come to find out, it's the girl that was as young as my daughter, and my email back was like, "She shouldn't be even on the team. What are you talking about? She shouldn't even be on the team. I'm just doing it out as a favor." Like, this is what parents are like. Like, I'm doing you a favor, and then you want to talk to me about minutes. Fucking unbelievable. The parents are the absolute worst. I'm sorry, Kev. Back to you. What's going on with the Nets?
We can finally switch gears. I also want to hear from the TJ and Brother Ray's assessment. A week into the Harden deal. I know he had a good first game. Kyrie is apparently back on the premises, but I know not everything's not rosy over there. So what are you guys seeing? What do you guys expect now a week in? And also, I'd like to hear your comments on the LeVert failing his physical in Indiana and the Nets having to give up another pick. So I guess those two things, like what you're seeing so far at the chemistry and then the LeVert angle.
Well, I think it's got. I do. I don't know why. What do I sound funny? Because I sound funny coming back to me.
Yeah,
what I thought was strange the other night when Colin Sexton put on a clinic, what was strange is that when you look at the box score at the end of the game, Kyrie took more shots than the other two. Like, that can't be it. And I know Harden gets to the hot foul line a whole bunch, so sometimes Harden's field goal attempts aren't high as the amount of shot attempts he's really making when he goes barreling into the lane. But to see Kyrie take more shots than Durant and Harden, that's not the way they're going to win. And I think they can figure it out. And I think the way to figure it out is maybe you sit Kyrie sometimes a little bit more. Like, you don't always have to play those three together. I think sometimes Kyrie might need his own time. Like, just let him go wander into space with the second unit for a few minutes, because there's no way that Kevin Durant's not taking the most shots on that team if I'm coaching it. But overall, like, when you see them out there together, it's pretty clear they're the three best players on the court. Like, it's got that LeBron Wade feel to it where it's like, okay, this is going to click. I don't know if it's going to click this year, but at some point it's going to click, and they're going to be the best team. Ray, you think that?
Yeah, I agree with you, TJ. I think I'll even use a hockey analogy. They got to get the right line rotation, right? They got to get that right line as far as people on the floor, giving those guys equal rest. And like you said, mixing it up. You have those three guys on the floor, you have one basketball. It is impossible, and you end up hurting your team. Kyrie should not be taking the most shots out of those three. So I think Nash really needs to step in now. And as a former high caliber player, you hope that he can kind of, do his job, and they'll let him do his job and come up with the right rotation. Because right now, I think that's what it's all about. Once they figure that out, they should represent the East. I mean, I don't think there's any question.
Phase two on that, when they get in the last 4 minutes of a close game, it's easier to do it in like high school or college, because then you could just tell Kyrie, if you take another bad shot, you're sitting your ass down. I don't know if you can do that in the NBA, but when they get in the last 4 minutes of the game, that ball has got to get in Durant's hands. And it was happening before Harden got there. Now you add Harden to the mix, but there's something about the NBA playoffs where teams figure out, like, what do we got to do to win this game? And I think when they do, I don't know who has the bodies to match up with them. I think Philly has a shot, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a homer. Because Simmons can really give Durant trouble and give Harden trouble, whichever way that matchup works out. I think, but that team's loaded.
TJ, in the Nets, who gets the last shot? Who do you think gets the last shot? Durant?
On the game, it's not Kyrie. I'll tell you that. Because here's what I know: Kyrie's going to take a step back. Like, I just know it in crunch time. Like, his most famous shot he ever hit in his life was a terrible shot in the damn finals. But if it's me, I'm probably trying to give Durant the ball first. But you know what's going to end up happening is you're going to run pick and roll with Harden, Durant, and then you'll let Harden make the decision. And I thought Harden did a nice job of facilitating the other night in the Cleveland game. Like, he draws so much, and he's not as selfish as his dribbling up top is selfish. We all hate it. But, like, when he gets in the paint, he tends to make good decisions. When Kyrie gets in the paint, he's shooting. Like he's taking floaters and runners, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So TJ, what you said about Kyrie is kind of the same thing I'm hearing. Like he needs to be like he probably should be taking the third most shots of those three. But how do you get that through his head? Like could you think he would actually play with the second unit? And like I think is he stable enough to do that? Like when he went to Brooklyn, he was like a save. And now they have Harden there, and I'm in New York right now, so you can probably hear fire engines go by. But they have Harden there now, so how do they sort of manage the ego, like to get Kyrie in the fold and like get him to accept he is the third fiddle, whether he wants to be or not?
I don't know, but I know Harden would play with the second unit because his eyes will light up. Like I don't got to pass to none of these, but I'm not passing none of these guys. Like yeah, give me some garbage time, but. You know, in crunch time, how do you get it through his head? I don't know. And that's why Steve Nash has got the toughest job in the world. I think they would probably have a better shot if it was Popovich or Doc or Rick Carlisle or somebody who's been around for a long time. Because I think Kyrie looks at Nash and thinks, like, I'm better than you. Like, I really feel like that's the way his mind operates. And the other thing you can do is run sets where Harden takes the ball up, but then you're putting yourself really in kind of the same position. So it's a tough balance. They're walking a tightrope. But the pieces are there. I think they'll figure it out.
All right, cool. And then what do you guys, Brother Ray, what do you think about the whole Levert thing? Failed a physical in Indiana. The Nets has thrown another pick. It affects one of their exemptions. It's makes the deal a little bit more costly.
Yeah, bad situation. I mean, really scary situation with Levert. I mean, what they found. I mean, could have been life threatening. You know, like that's a scary thing. Great kid, great player. I really like him. I've always liked him with that team. I mean, that definitely gums it up. I mean, you don't expect that kind of thing to happen. It's a good thing, though, that they found it. So sometimes, things happen for a reason. So that was a positive, that he did get traded. But, I mean, it was just weird with that trade. They had a lot of picks, and they were able to get Harden, and like Dinwiddie, like they kept Dinwiddie, and I still like think that was just a great move on their part, in case something goes wrong, in case they find out that after 1 year, one of those guys has to go, so they were able to obviously I love Levert, and having him go hurts, just hoping that, he can recover and contribute on that team. You hate to see something happen like that.
Yeah.
It almost has to work now, though. They have no draft capital. I mean, they traded the house. So if this thing combusts, then they're gonna look real bad real quick. Like when you're built around three guys, when you're so top heavy, that thing just crashes. And you end up in the lottery, and there's really no getting out. But I do want to add this: like, supposing the kid didn't get traded and like stayed there for 4 years, and they find this in another way, like it's a talk about a blessing, because. Who the heck's going to go? It's not like this isn't a root canal. Like you don't get that test. No one's going in for that kind of physical on their own, and it probably saved his life, or it definitely made his recovery a hell of a lot easier. The treatment's easier. So, bless him.
Cool.
Hey, Kev, really quick, I just want to say something. I'm trying to get the spread from the track. Well, Twin Rivers, because what I want to do is give our picks for just Friday night with the spread. Like I'm trying different approaches to see which one sticks. I think it's better to give current picks. It's hard to pick Saturday and Sunday. Some teams don't even play anymore. Like we're talking about when they don't even play anymore because they're always on COVID or something's going on. But so before we get into the picks of those games, we'll finish with those in a bit. Didn't you want to talk about that team?
Yeah, Mike. I'll bring up the picks too. But yeah, I had two other possible angles that I wanted to bring up for you guys. One, and you can choose. Maybe one of you takes each one. Number one, the Wizards. They haven't played. They got 6 games in a row postponed. They were just supposed to have a practice. They fought back against the Players Association to not play on Friday. That's the first angle. And the second one is the New York Knicks. I'm not a Knicks fan. I live in New York City, but they're 7-8, and everyone here is like rejoicing that there might be the real deal. So, Brother Ray, you pick which one of those two things you want to hit. and TJ will take the other one by default.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go with the Knicks. I mean, you know what? I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, some of the players that they get, the chemistry just seems like it's better this year. I think Toppin's going to be one. He's going to be a heck of a player there. It's going to happen eventually. I mean, they took him, you know, with a high pick. I mean, he's has that work ethic and that blue collar style that I think they've been lacking for a while. I mean, probably since Mason. So I mean, I think, you know, Barrett has been up and down. I know, you know, he's had some nights where he's been great, some nights he's been atrocious. I love Quickly. I think Quickly has really come on for them. I think he's getting more playing time. Again, that's another good young piece that they have. So I think the arrow's pointed up.
Are they a playoff team? Are they a playoff team?
I don't know if they're a playoff team, to be honest with you. I just think with the way this season has started, with the COVID situation, the way things are, and teams behind the eight ball, I don't think you've seen like the real test, the real metal yet as far as NBA. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I do like the young pieces that they have. They are playing hard. I will say that. So, I mean, they deserve a lot of credit for that, because that hasn't been the case the last couple of years there. So, I don't know. I think they're a team that they're doing a lot better than I thought they would be at this point.
All right.
So that puts me on the Wizards. I got Wizards watch. I could have had the Knicks.
Yeah. Hey, brother Ray's quick.
Instead, I got the Wizards, who are trying to throw their season away.
By default.
I was Quickly.
Look, the COVID thing stinks, and we knew that we were going to have teams that were going through this kind of stuff. They're starting to fall behind the group in terms of games played.
Yeah.
So they're like three. You know, usually in the NBA, because they don't play. It's not like they play a consistent schedule. They're falling like 3, 4, and even 5 games behind other teams. And it's like, well, how the hell are you going to make this up? I don't know what the answer is, but I know it's going to have an effect on the standings if they don't make them up. And even if they do make them up, they're going to have to do some kind of ridiculous schedule where they play 12 games in 17 days.
Yep.
And that's going to create a whole nother set of imbalance. So it's a struggle for the NBA right now. I don't know if they want to play. Like, I just really get that feeling when you read. I don't read a ton of stuff about the Wizards. I'm not going to BS anybody, but
No?
they want to play though. Like,
Westbrook,
they wanna
Beal?
play. Just Beal wants to be out of there. Like, I bet you if you took these people and hooked them up to a lie detector and said, look, you 3 number ones for Bradley Beal, but you got to cancel your season, they would sign immediately, because they're going nowhere. They got 1 win out of the last 20 games. I don't know what they're doing. But I'm just more worried about how is this going to affect the rest of the standings, and basically is it going to cost the Sixers a 1 seed, and that'll piss me off.
Don't you feel bad that when you think of the Wizards, from now on you think of a fat Jordan? You know what I mean? Like, I used to think of really good players that played for the Wizards. Now it's just that fat 45 Jordan, or whatever he was, 23. Like, although he did play pretty good, they said. Like,
Gilbert Arenas pulling a gun on somebody in the locker room.
Yeah.
That was it. But he was good. He had like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, Marbury was crazier, I think, though. Right? Was Marbury crazier?
I'm still mad they changed the name, because that set off generations worth of, now we're going to change every name that offends us. I came up in my Facebook memories a couple of years ago. I found this story where they changed the name of the high school mascot from Stallions because some women were offended that a young stallion could send the wrong message to their teenage daughter. I'm like, this is where the hell we are right now. We're worried about that.
Yeah.
It all started with those damn bullets, though.
Yeah.
Stallions. What the hell's wrong with Stallions?
I don't know. I'm going to send you the link next time it comes up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the good thing, TJ, is that now that they're no longer the Bullets, I don't have to think about that Jeff Rulin trade many years ago that I still have nightmares about.
It was like
Guys,
before my time, but that was legendary.
let it just be known for a second that they have the WNBA. Like, we've done a lot, like, to let them have the goddamn WNBA, because they don't watch their own sport. They don't watch themselves play basketball. They would rather watch the guys play ball. So who the freak watches them, right? I don't watch the WNBA. The WNBA where layups happen. Who gives a shit? Like, hey, it was a great bounce pass. Whoa, my God, look at that. Like, who cares? They don't even care.
I do love every now and then when it surfaces that, like, you know, the MVP of the WNBA makes 600,000 and LeBron makes 20 million. Like, yeah, no shit. Like, yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because that one girl made a whole complaint about like pay comparison. Like, all the stars should be getting paid or getting a certain percentage or whatever. It's like, just shut up. You can't play. Like, I hate to say this, they can't play. Like, I get twins. I got twins. They can't play. I'm sorry, they can't. That it's not the same sport. We play basketball. Guys play basketball different. We do different things. They dunk. They do all kinds of things that aren't in their sport.
I'll tell you what, though. We were talking earlier, and this will bring the conversation full circle, right? When we were talking about how the NBA is ISO bullshit, the girls' game actually has people playing basketball the way we grew up watching basketball.
Yep.
Like, it really does. It has people playing with running plays, and the post players do post moves, and the guards pass the ball. So, like, from a beauty of the game standpoint, to watch some high level Division I college basketball is actually better basketball than watching some John Wall bullshit.
Well, let me explain though. Sorry. So I have twins, boy and girl. They're both 17. I coach them both. The girls do play better. They do play better old school basketball as a team. They pass. They go to their spot. They accept their roles, right? But I would argue that any of it's good because on any level they're just not that good. We went to an all-state thing for like Rhode Island because my daughter was a freshman. She wanted to see all those best seniors play. And I promise you, out of the girls I saw on the floor, maybe 2 knew how to play really and could dribble with their left hand. I was like, that's the best. Like, oh my God, it's awful. It's really like
you're not in a good
really
region.
Bad. It's really bad a level of competition.
We're not in a good region for that. I'll tell you. So I coached 4 years. I coached NCAA women's basketball, and you go recruit some places. Those girls are they're players. Like, they're not playing above the rim, obviously, but they're not. What we got for Rhode Island girls basketball is not right now at a high point. Let's just say that it could use an infusion of talent.
It's bad.
Say the same thing.
I just want to remind everybody that's King Mike L. King Mike L is saying all this, not me.
I'm being honest. I'm being honest in that sport. They play totally different. They do.
We need a disclaimer. I want a disclaimer that like your views are not reflective. Of, like,
yeah, exactly. Put the crawler back out.
You know what? Yeah. I'll put one up before we're done. But I don't care. I look. It's the God's honest truth. It's just a different sport. I mean, come on.
I have a good story, King. About 8 years ago, I was in Vegas for the Kentucky Derby. It was a bachelor party weekend there for the Kentucky Derby. And I'm in Mandalay Bay. So we're waiting for the Derby to start. So big screen goes to black. What do you think comes up? The WNBA draft.
Oh,
they played the WNBA draft, and the whole place starts booing and laughing.
Wow.
And then they stopped it and they switched back to the Derby. So that, unfortunately, is that's that.
And now our viewing audience just learned for the first time that they televised the WNBA draft. Because
I think we need to take a bet among the 4 of us, and whoever loses has to watch the WNBA draft live and provide commentary and analysis on it. I can't even imagine I can't imagine it.
Dude, look, it would be awful, horrendous, and it's like they don't. All right, let's get off the topic of WNBA because I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
What's that?
The big slate of games tomorrow night. Big slate.
Yeah.
Good Friday night. Some good games tomorrow night, Mike.
Kev, I'll stop talking about them, but I'll bring it up again because I'll prove my point. I got a video of that. I'll prove my point one day. Let's go with the 7 the 7 o'clock games. Do you have the spreads? Because I do.
Yeah. If you want to read them, go ahead. I don't care. I have them in front of me. So tomorrow night, 7:30. I'm seeing is first one is the Nets Cavs. Nets -9.5.
That's what I got. 2.5. Ray, you want to go first?
I don't know. I probably looking at this. I mean, I'm looking at the games. I'll probably have to say. I mean, I've been picking on the Raptors, although they got me last week. I'd probably go with the Heat against the Raptors.
No.
What just happened?
No, we're picking by the spread. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're not picking games, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought I blacked out.
It made sense what he said. It just wasn't what. No, the Nets are playing the Cavs, and the Nets are favored by 9.5. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking.
I would go with the Cavs to cover that. I think the Nets are still figuring things out.
TJ.
Yeah, I'm taking the points. I think Cleveland will keep fighting. I mean, I think the Nets will win the game, but I don't think Cleveland will just roll it up. And in the NBA, you got to roll it up in the last 5 minutes to lose by double figures. And they're at home. Sexton's tough. Yeah, no, I'll stay with that.
Yeah, I love that one. I love that game. I think the Cavs stay really close to that. Like I do. And like you said, Sexton scored. What did he score? Like he went off last. Was it last night that he went off?
Oh, out of his mind.
Oh, just crazy. All right.
I'm going to go contrary because did the Cavs just beat the Nets? And I think they're going to go back and demolish them. So I'm going to go contrary, Mike.
All right. Give me next.
Next is Mavs Spurs. Mavs -2.5.
I'll tell you what, our first show over here, we spent like half the time, or at least I did, bashing the Spurs. And then you look up and they're like right there in the middle of it in the West. And I think Dallas is sexier. I think San Antonio is playing better right now, though, as much as I despise everything they stand for. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Spurs at home too all day.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Spurs as well. The Mavs. You look at this on paper, you would immediately jump to the Mavs, but I'm going with Pop.
I love the Mavs here, Kev.
Yeah.
I love the Mavs to cover 2.5.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, right there. I'm going with the Mavs all day, any day.
And I'm too much on the record of that first show, TJ, where we went off on Pop for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I told I will have to go against them every game, so I'm going Mavs. If they brought Duncan back and David Robinson was 35 years young, 35 years young, and starting at center, I'd still go Mavs.
What we get next, Kev?
Nuggets, Suns -1.5.
Let me go quick. I love the friggin' Suns here. Even though the Nuggets are playing really well, I like the Suns -1.5. TJ?
Me too. And here's why. It's an ESPN game. I feel like the Suns I think they're trying, Chris Paul's there. Like, they want to be that team. Like, they want to be the up-and-coming team in the West. I think that's a game they're definitely going to show up for. I know they're trying to get Ayton the ball a little more. I saw him the other night. I didn't realize Ayton's numbers were as down as far as they are, but I think it's a statement game in a lot of ways for Phoenix. It really is. They're going to put this as a big game on their calendar for the month. I think they're going to win.
Yeah, I'm with that. Right?
Love Phoenix. I love what they've been doing this year. I mean, there's so many arrows pointed up with that team. Young, good. Paul is the perfect complement. I mean, I'm with the Suns.
Yeah. It's 4 for 4. I'll go Suns also.
All right, Ken.
Next one is Knicks, Kings -4.
TJ, you must love the Kings here, right?
I do. I hate to lay 4 points with the Kings, though. I really like that's they're not a team that's gonna like win going away. The Knicks are playing hard. I probably take the Knicks with 4 because I don't think the Kings can cover. I think the Kings will win outright. One thing about Sacramento though, like as much as I like their talent and I feel like they have a lot of good pieces, at the end of the game they're always losing. Like, they're just not winning the games. And I like to watch the game and I'm like, wow, this team looks like a good team. I can get behind what they're trying to do. And then, they lost and then they lose again. And I think they're like 5-10 right now. So for all the excitement about me and the Kings, they're not doing it. I'll take the points in New York.
Right. Yeah. The Kings have been disappointing. I mean, they're just not playing well. They're not coached well right now. I mean, I hate to say it, but I have to take the Knicks here. I think definitely take them with the points.
Kev, give me the Kings -4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Knicks.
What?
Brother Ray got me actually excited about the Knicks. I feel like I'm Stefano right now. I know the whole thing's gonna fall apart in the end, but I gotta go Knicks tomorrow.
You know what? I will ride with the Kings -4.
All right. Last game is Thunder Clippers. Clippers -13.
But I had 13.
You're not going to do Boston Philly on a Friday night with 2 Sixers fans? What a shame.
I don't think the line's out right now, right?
Yeah, the line must not be out. I don't see a line out. Let me check a different site while you
There's
guys
a
are
line
talking
out
about
right
this
now
one.
for that.
Is Tatum playing? Is Tatum playing?
And then, huh?
Is Tatum playing?
That I don't know. That's probably why the line's not out.
That's why the line's not.
Yeah, the line's dropped. It dropped off the thing. The last one is the Thunder and Clippers. Even the track says so.
You want to try?
I don't know. The Clippers are hot right now. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in Oklahoma City. The Clippers,
13 though. What is going on? The spread is 13. Like,
I know.
you have to really beat a team to win by 13 because garbage time and free throws, you're going to be up by 18, 19 to feel safe, like at the very end, right?
it's true. This is what teases were invented for, though. This guy Fred right here. We talked about him last week. I don't mess with them, but that's what they're invented for. I just can't see myself watching a game with Oklahoma City and thinking that even 13 points is enough because the Clippers are the hottest team in the NBA this last week. I think they're going to put their foot in them. I think they're going to win by 20 and going away. So I would lay the points.
They have to, right? Like that's what the spread is telling us, right? It's telling us they have to win by more than 13.
Yeah, they're going to blow them out.
So the peg would be with the Thunder. Yeah. Getting the points.
I mean, one thing about the Clippers, real quick, I mean, they beat the Kings by 38, right? So they're not scared to run up the score. They beat the Blazers by 23. They beat the Timberwolves by 23. So they're a team that's a good team that will just straight up put their foot on your throat. They're not one of these teams like, I don't know, Philly, who never blows anybody out, really. You know, like they'll blow you out. So I feel comfortable laying those points. I'll take them all.
We know what's weird is you make so much sense on this pick that I keep saying, yeah, I'm going to take the Thunder. Because I just I said it I think 3 times. You keep saying, I go, yeah, all right, so plus take the Thunder. Plus. In my dumb head, I keep thinking that makes a lot of sense, right? Because, man, 13 is a lot. Like, it really is a lot. Like, you're going to be lumping up a team to win by 13. And, I mean, no more. I say no more. Take the Thunder. Kev, put me down for the Thunder, taking the points.
Okay.
By the way, the spread will probably change by tomorrow. That'll probably be like 15, 16. It might not 15, 16. Probably 14 or 15. Watch. That'll go up at least another point or two.
So
much better. So give me the Thunder anyways. Right?
Give me the Clippers. I mean, we could do a whole show on the fall of the Thunder. I mean, they had 3 arguably the best players in the NBA. And to see them where they are right now, it's a shame. It really is a shame. They're awful. Atrocious. I mean, you got to feel bad. If you had season tickets to the Thunder right now, my God. I mean, there's got to be something better you can do down there. I mean, go to a barbecue or something. I don't know, man. But yeah, no, Clippers all day.
They even ruined their uniforms. Even their uniforms were ruined. They used to be so much cooler when they first came out, the uniforms. The Thunder.
What a shame.
They suck. I'm like, they suck.
Hey, King, I hope you've been writing down the picks. You asked me to put you down for the Thunder. I haven't written a single thing down. Okay, good.
In orange and in green. I put it in orange when I don't think you guys are right. I keep track of all the picks we're making, and if someone makes a pick that I don't think makes sense, I put it in orange, because that way I get a twofer. What you ask, Kev? I can talk about it next show if it really was a bad pick. And I just like the colors. So, is that it for the picks of the night?
That's the only games. The Celtics line I couldn't find on the other side I checked either. So,
all right, because we've gone past an hour with my anti-female basketball rants and other stuff. You guys got anything else you want to address before we wrap it up? for the week?
No, that's all I got.
All right.
The Clippers and Lakers. I'll tell you that Clippers and Lakers right now in the West. That's going to shape up to be something as the year goes on because they're starting to separate themselves. I know Phoenix is a nice story. Utah, I'm not sold on, but that Lakers and Clippers, they're going to both be like 60 win teams in a 72 game season. It's going to be fun.
Yep. Ray, anything before we go?
I mean, I'm just hoping we get a break with COVID. Really, I'm just hoping something breaks because this. I mean, for fantasy basketball, it's just a train wreck trying to put lineups in and pick players. You know, I'm hoping we get a break.
I agree with that. Kev?
Well, as a relatively tall guy for North Providence, I'm going to go work on my perimeter game because I don't want to miss out on some opportunities in the league.
And I'm gonna,
Did you see the bottom of the screen? You're out of your mind, man.
well, I want to make sure because whatever. If people can't tell that I'm joking, well, whatever. I'm going to leave you with a 3-team parlay: Suns -1.5, Mavs -2.5, Kings -4. Write that down, Kev. That's going to be the one that breaks. Suns -1.5. Take the Mavs -2.5, and take the Kings against the Knicks because the Knicks.
I might bet that because you don't ever bet favorites. This is this is a first.
This is what I like. Yeah, these are the 3 teams to take. I'm telling you, this is the parlay to take. This is what I do.
Try that.
This is my part of it. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. Again, we pulled it off. Legit fantasy basketball. We just got to figure out now how to get as big as legit paranormal. And I mean, legit paranormal is like, maybe because this week, I don't know if you guys know, this Sunday we have to, we don't have to, but they're actually going to go to a haunted place and they're going to let us ask the spirits questions and answer us to like things. And I'm like, last week I brought my Italian Milwaukee, the Italian horn necklace, all that shit. I had that over here because I'm scared. That kid stuff scares me. Like I don't want to walk into that world. But yeah, anyways, that's what me and be doing this Sunday.
Well, the one thing we learned that you guys should be worried about is they can attach to you if you're in a bad place and you leave and you don't clearly state that nothing's allowed to come with you when you leave. A negative spirit could attach to you. And Mike and I just learned this. So we're sharing some wisdom here. Whenever you leave someplace you feel uncomfortable with, be very clear once you step outside that nothing can come with you once you cross the threshold.
And it made me feel better. It made me feel better because I thought I just had the shits. Now I know it's the paranormal. Hey, guys, me, Mike Lepre, King Mike Legit Fantasy Sports. Thank you very much. We will see you next Thursday night.